Hello, and welcome to OUTFRONT's webinar focusing on building brands for all levels of education and their current challenges and goals. The US ranks top in the world for the education system. So how does your school stand out from the crowd? Well, educational institutions are leading advertisers in the out-of-home industry. Our media provides a perfect canvas to make a statement in a very competitive industry. We're excited today to show you how OUTFRONT can help people, places, and business grow stronger. I'm Christine Rose, the Regional Marketing Director for the West Region, and I'd like to introduce today's speaker. Erin Brady is the Midwest Marketing Director at OUTFRONT. She is in our Chicago office and leads marketing and sales strategies for over 20 Midwest markets. Jarrod Glick is a Senior Art Director. He is in our Orlando, Florida office with a passion for out-of-home creative, which has been recognized with many awards for out-of-home design, art direction, and copywriting. I'm also excited to say that we are featuring two guest speakers from Rollins College today. We will meet Brian Barleone and Jarrod Bradshaw shortly. Brian is the Director of Admissions for the Hamilton Holt School at Rollins College, and Jarrod is the former Associate Director, Integrated Marketing and Operations for the Hamilton and Holt and the Rollins College as well. So can't wait to hear from these two speakers at Rollins College and how they are successfully using out-of-home, plus a little bit insight into their strategies to drive program awareness online and offline, and as well as increasing enrollment. Please insert questions you may have at the bottom Q&A button throughout the presentation. I'll be sure to share them with our speakers at the end. Erin, take it away.
Thanks, Christine. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today, we have quite a few longtime friends with us, and then we have some that are brand new. So I'd like to kick off our time with a short video outlining OUTFRONT's purpose.
As the most visible media platform in America, OUTFRONT understands its role in creating cultural impact. For us, most visible means connecting with people through canvases and displays that are always on and woven into the fabric of our communities. We are not a channel that can be turned off. We are not an opt-in service, nor are we a paid subscription, which makes it even more important for us to think of ourselves as a neighbor. With that in mind, we have a profound opportunity, and more importantly, responsibility, to positively impact people, communities, and businesses. Because at OUTFRONT, positively impacting people's daily lives is central to our purpose, helping people, places, and business grow stronger.
So to echo, OUTFRONT's purpose is to help people, places, and businesses grow stronger. And especially in times like these, we take true pride in being part of the community, helping people to stay informed, and helping businesses like yours, both big and small, grow stronger. So let's get started. In about 45 minutes time, here are some of the things that we're going to cover. First, we'll take a look at the changing consumer and how you can effectively reach your target audience. Then we'll take a deeper dive into the education sector, the effects the pandemic has played, and the opportunities it's created. From there, we'll go over media solutions and share real-life examples from education brands utilizing out-of-home to achieve their desired results. And because 70% of an ad's effectiveness is based off of the creative, I'll hand it over to my friend Jarrod, who happens to be an incredibly talented artist and a leader on our studios team. As Christine had mentioned, he's going to be joined by two longtime partners and friends, Jarrod and Brian. Collectively, the three are going to share best practices on how your brand can achieve creative excellence. And last, we left some time for Q&A. As always, we appreciate your participation and we appreciate your insight. So let's jump in. So really no surprise here. The past year has drastically changed our routines, our media preferences, and most definitely our exposure. Exactly a year ago, a lot of us probably looked like this woman, but perhaps a little less smiley. We were stuck on our couches, endlessly scrolling on our phones and checking out the latest Netflix offerings. I'm sure if we all thought back, we can recall debating whether Carol Baskin fed her husband to the tigers or not. Also at this time that we saw a big surge in mobile, tablet, and other device usage. But fast forward, now as vaccines are rolling out en masse, cases are down and city restrictions are being lifted, we're seeking a massive shift to the fresh air. Out is definitely the new in, and our traffic numbers are really confirming this. Also, as people are getting out and about more, they're associating being outside of their homes with a pure sense of joy. And here's a little fun fact. Psychologists say that joyful people are more receptive and they notice their surroundings more, which in turn means they notice outdoor advertising even more. So if we looked back to that vision of us on the couch last year, we might not even recognize that person. Now, nearly 70% of us are feeling complete and utter digital fatigue, and we're putting down our devices in favor of real life experiences. In fact, 65% of us want to get out of the house as much as possible. I know I do. And because of this, so many of us are noticing outdoor advertising more now than ever before. The workplace is also being mixed up. I think the biggest misconception early on in the pandemic was that no one was going to work. This could not be further from the truth, as more than 55% of the American workforce have jobs that cannot be performed remotely. And now with the work from home group, we're seeing a hybrid of working from home and working from the office. So at this point, 72% of Americans are commuting to work each week. Just over half of those are going into the office every single day, with the majority, roughly 80%, going in 2 to 3 times per week. So how are we all getting around? If there's one thing the pandemic has brought, it's change. Change in our lifestyles, change in our priorities, and definitely change in our travel habits. Of course, we still love our cars at 86%, but 3 out of the 4 of us are reporting that we are walking and biking more. 90% of us are using public transportation. So granted, it's probably not your typical Monday through Friday, twice a day, like pre-pandemic times. Instead, we're seeing big surges on the weekends with people using public transit for leisure or entertainment, like going back to our favorite restaurants or meeting up with some friends at an outdoor patio. All of this activity has led to an increased exposure to street level media, which is why smart brands like Quincy College are mixing it up. And they're using a variety of OUTFRONT formats to capture audiences at multiple touch points throughout their day. So let's talk about you guys. Let's talk about education. Of all the categories that were diverted by the pandemic, I think education was hit the hardest. If you think about it, the education system for the most part was set up and is somewhat dependent on our ability to gather. So let's take a look at the evolution education has made in the last year. In mid-March of 2020, most schools had already closed their doors in an effort to flatten the curve. This is what we thought would be a temporary pause. But by mid-April, nearly every state either ordered or recommended that all schools stay closed for the remainder of the school year. This impacted over 55 million students in over 124,000 public and private school systems in the country, most of which were not fully equipped or prepared to handle a switch to virtual learning. Throughout the summer, educators spent time planning what the new school year would look like, and they had to quickly adopt new instruction methods. In August, 75% of students started the 2021 school year with some form of e-learning, whether it be completely remote or a hybrid model. Of those students, 72% of them needed some sort of supervision or academic support during the school day, as parents were finding it incredibly tough to balance a new teacher role in their households. And as the balancing act continues, the need for updates and clarity has never been stronger, with over 60% of parents currently reporting they are hungry for more information and claiming their child is learning less now than they would be in the absence of a pandemic. With most public schools starting the school year off virtually, we've also seen an increase in private school enrollment, being that 82% of private school students started the school year in an in-person situation. Really, everyone has felt the pressure and the shift over the last year. But what does this mean from an employment standpoint? And what are some of the opportunities that we see for education? The Congressional Research Service recently released a report stating that workers without a college degree experience worse unemployment rates during the pandemic than workers who had a bachelor's degree or higher. That said, we've seen 1 in 3 unemployed adults have taken concrete steps to retool their skills by pursuing some form of education. With this, they hope to shift careers and find security in a new degree or a new skill set. The peak unemployment rate was last year at 14.7%, which was a drastic 10.3% uptick from the month before. As of February of 2021, over 18 million Americans are receiving unemployment checks from the government. So what does this mean to you? Winston Churchill once said, "Never waste a good crisis." And that has never been truer than this moment in time. Outside of all the things that education providers have historically and consistently spoke to their target audiences about, things like branding and accolades and enrollment, we're now seeing a number of additional opportunities stem from the current times that we're in. So let's start with parents and students. They are absolutely starving for more information. And let's be honest, many of them need to regain confidence in their school systems. Whether it's messaging that provides hope to an in-person return or safety messaging highlighting new COVID protocols, frequent updates are a must in this evolutionary time. E-learning. E-learning is a continuously growing layer in all of this. So while college and university campuses have offered online learning at a small percentage for years, the familiarity to learn this way has grown immensely, really amongst all the ages, which in turn has increased the likeliness for online education enrollment. Educational resources like tutoring, group pods, or other forms of academic aid have never been in higher demand. Many parents have been shaken and they want the confidence that their children are meeting or exceeding their grade level expectations. And as we've seen from the unemployment numbers, many Americans are taking this time to go back to school and start a new career. So the competitive landscape for higher education and vocational school is seeing some major traction. So how can we help? In this section, I'm going to take you guys through some strategy and show you some real world examples of how education providers are utilizing out of home and mobile to achieve their desired results. With over 500,000 canvases across the nation, OUTFRONT can definitely provide you and your brand with the right locations at the right time to reach your audience, and most importantly, to achieve your desired results. So what makes us different from any other media company? It's what we call the OUTFRONT Edge. It's our 360 partnership approach where we learn about your business, we hear about your goals, then we craft planning, creative, amplification, and measurement strategies to motivate and resonate with your target audience, all designed with your specific goals in mind. So let's take a look at this approach in real life. Here's an amazing story from our Washington, D.C. market who worked closely with Georgetown University. So first up, the right audience. OUTFRONT has national breadth with local depth. And what I mean by this is we reach 70% of Americans each week, but we can do so with a hyper-local focus. For example, Georgetown wanted to reach millennials with a college degree with messaging about their graduate program. We use our third-party and proprietary resources to pinpoint exactly where these audiences move about the DC area. Then we layer in our media and chose the locations that would reach the highest concentration of this audience. So knowing where they wanted to be, Georgetown was smart and they mixed it up. By using a combination of live boards, transit, and bike share media, they ensured their message would be seen by millennials at multiple times throughout the course of their campaign. And by adding digital media to the mix, Georgetown had the opportunity to keep their message fresh. They could do multiple creatives, they could day part, they could use real-time triggers or pull in messaging dynamically. Really, with digital out of home, the opportunity to stay relevant is limitless. So how did we do? Their eight-week campaign delivered 5.9 million impressions against their millennial audience, with added exposure across 19.6 million general market impressions. This drove a 36% lift in website visitation and a 27% increase in the number of admitted students. This program was deemed a big success and it far exceeded Georgetown's anticipated goals. So let's take a look at another. Not every success story has to come from a big brand or a big budget. Here's a great example from Welland Montessori School in Massachusetts. Within certain zip codes around their facility, Welland wanted to reach households with children ages 2 to 14. After we strategically put together a program, they utilized OUTFRONT's mobile media, along with green line platform displays, 2-sheet posters, and bus tails, all within their desired areas. This program yielded 4.9 million impressions, with an additional 200,000 via their mobile ads. Over the course of their campaign, Welland's unique website visits were increased substantial, as did their enrollment. And their mobile campaign saw a 30% lift off the, over the mobile benchmark for secondary action rates. Once again, driving results beyond the school's original expectations. So those are just a few of the many success stories that we could share showcasing education providers achieving their goals with OUTFRONT. Here's an additional sampling of education brands who believe in the power of out of home and consistently partner with us to drive results. So before I turn it over to Jarrod, we wanted to take a moment to recognize all our education providers and their continued efforts to overcome a very tough year, always with a student-first approach. So with that, we salute you, and we are so honored to have played a small role in your ingenuity to create new milestone memories for the students of 2020. So now I'm going to hand it over to Jarrod. Jarrod, take it away.
Thanks, Erin. I know right now we'd be waiting for the applause to die down because that was super awesome if this were in the real times. But so, hey, everybody, I was really excited when I was asked to speak at this brand builder because I'm not only an art director, I've also been an adjunct professor teaching design for 17 years. So I know firsthand how hard it is to keep students interested during the normal times, let alone trying to teach online during a pandemic. And honestly, I just can't imagine being the class of 2020, all that work, and you can't even walk the stage. I mean, it's just terrible. But in the video we just saw that Erin just showed us, I love that with out of home and a little help from social media, students were at least able to share a bit of that joy with their friends and family. I mean, just watch this for a second. I love the looks on their faces. And the thing that I love most about out of home is its ability to connect to people emotionally. What other form of advertising gets people so excited that they take a selfie in front of it and post it on social media? It's the one medium that screams to thousands of people in 1 second, and at that moment can take someone from shock to joy. It happens on a very individual level. When you think about effective advertising, I mean, that's it, right? To convey that sense of rage, of empowerment, or nostalgia, or even laughter. And that whatever that emotion is, with out of home, it comes through in a split second, and it can reach the masses like no other medium. And from there, you can scale it to any other format. So just imagine you're walking down the street and you see this breathing human being trapped in a bus shelter. I mean, it's going to make you curious as hell. Or if you're me, it's just going to give you the heebie-jeebies. All right, so I watched our national creative director, Eddie Hurdy, present this slide at our last brand builder, and he is super humble and he feels weird presenting it because it's a huge brag slide. I mean, we're published in all these places, we've won this many awards, but you know what, I'm not. I'm so proud of what we've accomplished as a team. And one of the reasons that we do so well is because Eddie doesn't hire people that are good at billboards. He hires people that are good at advertising. And I can honestly speak for all 50 of us on the studios team that when I say we're passionate about what we do, we love learning about our clients and learning what you do and simplifying your message to work on any of our assets. And yes, we win awards because our hearts are rooted in gaining this knowledge about your passion, why you do what you do, and telling your story. And when I say we win awards, I mean, we really win a lot of awards. I don't know if you guys know what the Obies are, but they're essentially our Oscars, and they highlight the excellence in out of home. And we're not just competing against other out of home companies. So in the past 3 years, we've consistently won more Obies than any other local, regional, or national agency. And we win these awards because our team just gets it. I mean, we get 100%, that 100% of boring ads don't matter. And this is a 100% completely true stat that we made up. So we won't present boring unless we're asked. And even if we are asked, we're gonna try like hell to talk you out of it. We get equally as excited when we work with national, regional, or local clients. All right, I didn't work on this one. I think this is a local client. I don't know. I think her name's Jennifer. She's from down the block. And I am so sorry, that's the worst joke ever, but it makes me laugh. So, but for real, we designed the shuttle interior and exterior wrap for JLo Beauty's brand launch, for JLo to actually ride to Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, where she was headlining. We had a week to get this completed so it can post on New Year's Eve, broadcasted live on television. And JLo, if you can imagine, has crazy high standards, and she trusted us to do something that was going to be seen by millions. I mean, personally, I think this is killer, but don't just take my word for it.
I know, it's nuts. Look, ageless, youthful, limitless, timeless.
All right, guys. So there you have it. It's nuts. JLo says it's nuts. I guess we're nuts. All right, so there are two ways we can work. Speculative, look, we all know that word, right? That dreaded word, spec design. It's hollow, there's nothing inside it because it involves a high risk of loss. It's based on conjecture, not knowledge. We prefer not to work this way because it won't yield a high return for you unless we get lucky. We'd much rather be determinative about our approach, having a discovery with you, learning from you what your goals are, what you're trying to overcome, what story you want to tell. And if we can do that, we can put together a campaign that really works. And speaking of a campaign that really works, I want to highlight a campaign in the educational vertical, the Hamilton Holt School at Rollins College. And first, I'd like to introduce Brian and Dragnis from Rollins to give us a little background on the Hamilton Holt School and their marketing goals. So take it away, Brian.
Thanks, Jarrod. So the Hamilton Holt School is a subset of the Rollins College brand. We work with adult age transfer population, graduate students in our area. And so we wanted to reach out to a population that's a little bit more difficult to find. They're not the traditional high school age students. And so we researched several different out-of-home options, and just working with OUTFRONT, it's been amazing. Our art director, we get to work with Jarrod, so we're lucky. As well as Courtney, who is our account manager. It's just the personal connection that we have with them, the ability to really work one-on-one with a team. It doesn't feel like we're working with a huge corporation because we get one-on-one attention. Dragnis has worked with them far more than I have, but for me as an admissions director, I don't do marketing. That's not my background. That's not what I went to school for. That's not what I'm passionate about. But bringing in OUTFRONT has really allowed us to be able to do the things that they're talking about, to be able to have a really cool presence in the community and do things that I didn't even think were possible with some of our billboards. So I'll let Dragnis talk a little bit more about how we did that and what we did.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everyone. My name is Dragnis Bradshaw, and I was the former Associate Director of Integrated Marketing Operations for the Holt School at Rollins College. And so like Brian mentioned, our goal was really a brand awareness campaign for the Holt School. We really wanted to hone in on our brand presence that we already had in the community. We are in Central Florida, so in Orlando, we're very well known as Rollins Liberal Arts Institution. And so we didn't want to go on and do a campaign that was independent of the Holt School and independent of Rollins. We wanted to integrate that as much as we can and leverage that we had a strong brand presence in Orlando. And as Brian also mentioned, our non-traditional audience are working adult folks that have family obligations, they're busy. And so they were looking for flexibility and affordability. So what we did was we met with OUTFRONT team, and they took the time to really understand our organization. They were really trying to understand what we wanted to achieve. They spent some time with us brainstorming and asking some great questions about what we needed and what our goals, our target goals were. From that, we then received a wonderful, very impressive presentation outlining how we would move forward with the different areas and the different aspects of the campaign. I think most importantly for us, what we felt was that they were very much a collaborator with us in this project, and they took the time to understand our desired audience and what we were really trying to achieve with the out of home and the mobile side of it to reach our brand recognition goals. And to me, it was very complementary in terms of how we were trying to make that happen. Mobile turned out to be a great way for us to reach what we were trying to accomplish with our brands and also our reporting information and demonstrating where we were getting the most clicks and the most engagement, where it was coming from in our target market. And then from that, we knew how to better position ourselves in our local area in Central Florida. So I think overall for me, where I was most impressed with OUTFRONT was their passion for creativity, their passion for innovation, and for really trying to understand what we were trying to accomplish in our market and to be the differentiator in that space. So I'm looking forward to seeing the results that Jarrod's going to walk us through now. So I'm going to throw it back over to him, and he will walk through the evolution of the Holt School.
All right, thank you so much, guys. And before I talk about the campaign, I want to talk a minute about the relationship and how we met, because you know what, it's really quite romantic. So let me set the scene for you. It was at our last brand builder, and we saw each other from across a crowded room. Our eyes met, and we knew instantly there was chemistry. But like most of my first dates, I did all of the talking, and I did none of the listening. So Rollins decided they wanted to try something a little bit more intimate. They invited us back to their place. We brought some food, we had some drinks, we did some talking, but we did a lot of listening as well. And Rollins was honest. They let us know up front they'd been playing the field, and they had a couple of first dates before us, but with no commitment. So in the end, they chose us because we actually care and we give a damn. All right, now let me walk you through the evolution of this campaign. So we put together a team of creatives and presented a few solid ideas. I really dig this idea because it shows how you can start over at the Hamilton Holt School and you can go from name tag to nameplate. And here, I just love the play on the word graduate. You can graduate from a job to a career. You can graduate from hourly to salary. And we always include a mobile component into each concept with some fun animation as well. But this is a concept that resonated with the client because it addressed the concerns of the typical would-be Hamilton Holt student and gives them solutions. If you can't go back to school because of your hectic lifestyle, maybe you have a job, you have a family at home, Hamilton Holt offers flexible schedules. Or if you're worried about giant classes, they offer personalized attention. So we made this more true to the Hamilton Holt brand by using photos of actual students as well. And in the end, we delivered this comprehensive campaign utilizing static and digital billboards, as well as a mobile component for amplification. And if they ever decide to branch out into other markets, for example, promote the campus in a different market like Miami, QR codes are really awesome in areas with high foot traffic. So if you guys want, this is a working QR code right here. You can pull out your phone, open up your camera app. It's automatically going to read the code, and you get this little link above. And this will take you directly to the Hamilton Holt School information request, just like their mobile campaign. But wait, there's more. Do you need to scale it? We want to help with that too. We don't want to just give you a billboard and say good luck and send you on your way. We want to partner with you. And yes, there are fees for the extra work, but we want your campaign to be cohesive. And if you start with out of home, the rest is so much easier. I mean, it's really hard to come up with 4 to 6 words sometimes to sum up your entire campaign into 4 to 6 words. It's not like a print ad where you can explain your message in a paragraph. So out of home needs to work in seconds. And once this is done, you can scale to any media format. And it doesn't work the other way, right? So show of hands if you have tried to take a finished ad campaign and scale it down to out of home. For A, it rarely works. And B, I can't see your hands, so put your hands down. But when it works, it works. And when we partner with you, we can do some really amazing work. So let me talk for a minute about Beyond the Stage. They originally went with our competition. You can see in the lower left corner there, and they got exactly what they asked for. They got a billboard. It just didn't resonate with the client or their audience. Studio's advice: if you want to attract children, your campaign needs to be bright and vibrant, like the city of New Orleans where this posted. Are you familiar with the old adage, children should be seen and not heard? Well, it simply isn't true. With this campaign, we wanted to take that statement, turn it on its ear, and advocate for kids to be seen and heard. So this project was a great collaboration with the Citadel, one of the nation's top military colleges. They wanted to focus on their admissions for their online master's and certificate programs. In our initial conversation, they said they thematically wanted to take advantage of the Metro and talk about how getting your MBA could be your next stop. And essentially, they came to us with a great idea, and Studio showed them how visually we can make their concept work throughout the station domination. I love this campaign. So creating a curriculum for an entire university is crazy hard. Registrars must know what courses the students need, what times professors can teach, what classrooms are available, and the existing software is a glorified spreadsheet. I'm sure some of you on this call must know this. And it looks like it was updated in the late 90s. So CourseDog uses machine learning to do the logistics for you and looks good doing it. And you might think there is absolutely no way to make a curriculum software campaign funny, but Studios took that as a challenge. So we literally sat on a call, actually on a Zoom call, and we brainstormed Yo curriculum jokes for about an hour, and we came up with about 30 of them. So I'm only gonna highlight a couple of them here. So Yo curriculum software is so old, it has a crush on Zach Morris. Yo curriculum software is so old, the manual is on papyrus. Yo curriculum software is so old,
it was bundled in the Old Testament.
She was supposed to say, how old is it?
Oh,
but
sorry.
whatever, that's what, it was bad. So in the end, because we had that discovery meeting, we knew the client not only wanted to do something different, we also knew that they had a great sense of humor. All right, in this one, we learned at our discovery that Xavier, an all-boys school, wanted to convey to the prospective students that you come to Xavier not only to learn, but to make something more of yourself, to be more than just a student, to be a responsible and active member of society and the community. So in this campaign, I mean, we really just wrote 2 words, and we let the students write the end, and then they got to display it on their photos to be posted around town. The Florida Technical College, excuse me, came to us, and they wanted to promote their culinary arts and HVAC programs. So we just put together this fun campaign, and we really just wanted to let people in Orlando know what jobs were hot and what jobs were cool in Florida. And I want to highlight this for just a second, because even though it didn't come to fruition, the way we originally pitched this was a little bit bigger. So you could take something like this, we could add neon to this and make it really glow at night. And these could have been 3D props, which is hopefully one day that'll become this. You know, this one really resonates with me because I have a son and a stepdaughter who literally just took the SAT 2 weeks ago. And I can promise you there are some chewed up pencils in our house somewhere. All right, Georgia State alumni, they were having a lot of issues getting past students to come to alumni events. They also wanted to turn current students into future alumni. They really wanted their campaign to be fun and exciting while also showing that being a part of the GSU community was something to take pride in. They love this campaign so much, they went to their departments and they got extra funding so they could extend this campaign. They made it bigger, and they also ran it for an entire another year. And I saved this example for last because I think this quote is just perfect. When we presented this campaign to the client, they said, I didn't know what to expect, but this is exactly what we wanted. And I mean, that is just perfect. And this is because Studios did our job and we did our homework. So thank you guys very much. I'm gonna end it there, and I'm gonna kick it back to Christine for the Q&A.
Great, thank you, Erin and Jarrod. We have some really great questions, and thought we'll just dive in and address the first question. So the first one we got was, how do you track millennial audience impressions? I think this was a little specific to the Georgetown University campaign, but I think we can also touch on some of our resources that we have here at OUTFRONT.
And that one's coming to me, right?
I think so.
Okay. I don't think Jarrod wanted to touch on that.
No.
Yeah, so as we kind of highlighted in the Georgetown example, we have third-party resources as well as some proprietary resources that track all sorts of audiences based on their demographics, based on behavioral, all types of things. So millennials specifically, we have software that will show us where they work and where they live and where they move about the market. So we can pinpoint exactly their activity in that market and what media is going to specifically reach that audience and speak to that audience.
That's great. Thank you, Erin. Next question. How can so we know that out-of-home is location-based media, and we can target areas close to a school or a university, but how can we strengthen our location selections even further?
That's you, Erin.
Okay, I would take that one as well. So, so how can you, so they're already, it sounds like they're already targeting around their school or their university, which is a great strategy. We've seen a lot of education providers have great success. You want to speak to, you know, the area that, you know, your district where your school is and the potential people that will attend that school. So that's a great strategy. Some other strategies that we've seen from education providers where they come in and they target competitors, right? So taking some enrollment away from other colleges and universities that way. And then also if we're talking about college, we've seen some education providers target maybe high school level, right? So reaching out to different high schools and in that area, reaching out to those younger audiences who are making those next step decisions. So again, we can do that, you know, that's kind of a geographic way to look at targeting people, as well as we can target them by the nature of their being and where they are in the market. So not only with geography, but also where they move about the market. So we can, it could be a one-stop shop and just multiple touch points throughout, you know, that audience's movement.
Thank you, Erin. I'm going to give you a break and pass it off to our guest speakers here. So this is for Rollins College. Why did you choose out-of-home for your campaign? And can you share more about the campaign success?
Sure. So I'll maybe start and then throw it over to Jarrod for some of the success pieces. But one of the biggest things for us is the audience that we're trying to serve is a difficult audience to get in front of. It's not the traditional high school student where we could buy names or do some of the more traditional admissions recruitment and marketing. We also are in Central Florida near a partner school, UCF, who has a really strong connection with our community colleges, and they use billboards. And so we wanted to make sure that we were both competing with them and increasing our brand awareness to an audience that we really struggle to get in front of. So this was in conjunction with some of the other more traditional types of marketing that we were doing with social media and things like that. We also really like the digital component of being able to use out-of-home. So the combination of the billboards as well as the digital advertising. The other interesting thing for us is we started doing this really in the height of COVID. So our billboards went up just as all of these things were happening. And so as we were pivoting some of the digital, we were also able to make tweaks and do things to announce some of our online changes and things like that. So students knew that if they were going to be enrolling in some of our semesters while COVID was going on, they would be online, where we're more of a traditional in-person environment. So there were a lot of really great things that we were able to do with the out-of-home option. So I'll turn it over to Jarrod to talk a little bit about the outcome piece.
Thanks, Brian. I would also add, just in terms of working with OUTFRONT, the relationship we had with the team. In particular, shout out to Courtney for all of the responsiveness, the flexibility, the way in which the relationship was managed. We were able to do things very quickly. We would get answers very quickly, and we were able to take action on those things very quickly. I think for us, the outcome piece that was most successful is that we were able to target, and this kind of goes back to the question that was just recently asked, we were able to target some of our feeder locations. So our approach was not so much around targeting where we were in our institution. I think someone asked our size of our college. We're a small liberal arts private college. We're not a community college. And so we were looking at targeting our community colleges because those were our feeder schools. So we had success in that area, and also in the the mobile piece where they could take the secondary action to then land on our pages, and we could see if they were either calling or filling out the form and then tracking them that way through our digital platform.
Okay, that was really helpful. I have another kind of question diving a little bit deeper into the metrics. What metrics did you use to measure the success? Was it an increased enrollment? Was it general branding awareness? Kind of just a little bit more in depth on that.
So the goal of the campaign was really an awareness driving campaign. We wanted to get the name out into the community. Again, Rollins has a really great reputation in the Central Florida area, but we wanted to get that sub-brand of the Hamilton Holt School for the transfer and adult age population out there. And so it was really brand awareness, and we were able to see, like Dragna shared, through some of the digital components, the interactions that were being taken place through both the billboards and the digital pieces.
Great, thank you. I have another question. This might be a little bit more geared towards Jarrod and Erin, but can Out of Home engage potential students at multiple points during the day? Is there a mix of Out of Home designed to interact with them as they go about their days, whether they're commuting or gathering in small groups with their friends?
You want that, Erin, or you want me? I mean, I'm sorry, I could start on that just in our market.
And then I'll jump in.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Because in our market, definitely with our digital bulletins, we can do what's called day parting. So they can see one message on their way to school in the morning, they can see another message in the afternoon, and another one will hit them on the way home. So absolutely, we can do that.
Okay, so piggyback off of that, and that is great. So again, we have the ability to know where your audience is within the market, right? So if you think about people's busy days, right, where they go throughout their busy days and the potential opportunities to speak to them, right? So we can capture people when they're waking up in the morning on their mobile phones and they're checking the weather. We can capture them with transit media as they're riding in on the subway. If they're going to meet their friends for lunch, we can capture them with street level media. Or we can use roadside media as they're walking the dog or running their errands. So all these multiple touch points. And then again, back at home at the end of the day, when they're checking their apps later at night, we can hit them one more time with that reminder of your brand. So it's definitely what Out of Home and mobile do very, very well.
Can I hop in and just share from an education perspective? I think one of the really cool things that Jarrod shared with us was in our area, traffic gets really bad at times, right? And so they can also change out the messages and know when traffic is stopped or how long people are viewing a billboard in certain areas. And so we could change out the message to be longer or shorter, depending on how long somebody was sitting in front of the media. And I thought that was a really cool way to share different messages.
Yes, absolutely. We definitely have a great variety of capabilities here at OUTFRONT. And I love what Erin said. We love to mix it up with different various media formats. Next question is a little bit, I'm getting for you, Jarrod, on the creative side of messaging, but open to all. What type of messaging have you been seeing from education clients the last 6 months? And do you see the messaging changing?
Well, I mean, I think that in the video that Erin showed, we had a lot of very positive messaging to help all the people that didn't get to actually share their graduation. But honestly, from what I've worked on, especially Rollins, I mean, Rollins is my main education client at the moment, but no, I think that it was more just about keeping their brand strong and letting people know that they were still out there. I personally haven't seen a lot of changing messages. Erin?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, some of the opportunities, I think we went over a lot of those opportunities. And I think it's kind of subliminal. So there's little things that you see, maybe their model now has a mask on, that type of thing. So they're being sensitive to the times, but they're back to business, right? Just like our cities are. We're back to business. We want to move forward with life. And that's what we see in the education sector as well.
Okay, thank you. So next question is a little bit in response of 2020 and COVID. Did COVID and the move to online affect any of these campaigns, and how? Again, talking about the pivoting messaging and how quickly can they be made on OUTFRONT assets?
Who wants to take that one? Like I was saying before, when it comes to Rollins, we didn't really pivot the message that much, but if there is a need to do that, that's why I'm always preaching to make sure, even if you have static, to mix in digital, because we can change your message on the fly. It really doesn't matter. If you want to start letting people know that, which I can't wait, next year, my son's going to be back in a face-to-face school. If we want to let people know, hey, face-to-face is now open, then heck yeah, let's get it up there, and let's get it up there as quick as we can. And then when it's ready to move back into the next phase, yeah, sure, we'll just keep changing it.
And we were given the option to change a lot of our creative, and we really liked the campaign that we had initially chosen. And so we made the decision not to change some of our static. We did do some changes to our digital, and it was really quick. And Courtney was right on top of it, asking us if we wanted to change before we had even had the thought process to think about doing that. So it's very quick. They're really agile and can do it in almost a day, it seems like.
Well, maybe.
Digital.
You just told the entire world that I would do work for them in a day. That's all I'm saying.
Jarrod, this question is for you. How do you work with and support in-house designers if your client chooses to provide their own creative?
You know, we love that. I mean, we put together a team no matter what. So like the one for the Citadel that I showed you earlier, that was not our idea. We are here to help in-house designers, other agencies. If you guys are out there, we're just there to support you sometimes and to help teach you how we can use our assets in a better way.
Yes, absolutely. I would echo that. I think we love that. We love to partner with all clients in many different facets. Next question is, have we worked with any educational nonprofits, art nonprofits, or museums? Specifically, they're looking for a case study, but we can follow up with that. But they're just looking to kind of understand that kind of collaboration across the educational nonprofits.
I mean, I can say the answer to that question would be yes, we have, and we will definitely send somebody or connect you with somebody that will get you those case studies that you're looking for.
Yes, absolutely. We love working with a wide variety of clients and encourage you to reach out to us. That is actually wraps up all the questions that I have for everybody. So we actually can we're off running right on time actually. So thank you again for joining. We will post this recording on our OUTFRONT X content hub. So stay tuned if you missed that or would like to kind of catch back up. So thank you again for attending.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.